Solar stage. This is a Give Peace a Chance workshop done by local police groups, peace groups, Central Power for Peace, and other peace activists. So please gather around. We have some speakers here. We'll speak to you about the war that we are actually engaged in this country, our desires to end these wars, and the advantage it would be to all the American people and people of the world if all these wars today. Let you know that following the peace workshop, Give Peace a Chance, we're going to have Kim Crawford's going to be playing for us, and then after that, Teresa Dawson is going to be with Military Families for Justice. She's going to be speaking about the reality of the war and the veterans' perspective, and the Iraq Veterans Against the War and Iraq and Veterans for Peace are going to be speaking with her. Zainab, you want to come up here and start it off?
Hey, yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Zainab Alami. I've been asked to speak. This is impromptu. 12 years ago, I came to this country. I'm still a citizen of Iraq. I have more than 40 extended family members that still live there. What angers and surprises me is that people talk about bringing freedom for women to Iraq. Let me tell you one thing. Growing up, I was able to take the bus, dressed as I am, right here in front of you, right? I was able to go to college. I was able to walk on the street like this. Today, I would not dare do this in the streets of Baghdad. We had women members of parliament. I'm not pro-Saddam. I never was. We had women members of parliament. Today, if women in parliament show up without their head covered, they're scorned. Even before they're allowed to say anything, they hear all kinds of insinuations because of the current regime that was installed by this current occupation. I talk to people who talk to me about freedom and how people from that area are envious of American freedom. I need to bring to your attention one thing. What's happening in Iran, not Iraq, I'm from Iraq, but what's happening in Iran today? In the 50s, there was a democratically elected government. What did the US do? They toppled it. They brought in the Shah. Somehow the Ayatollahs found their way there. And now these people in Iran are struggling for their freedom. But who took their freedom away to begin with in the 50s? And who's taking away Iraqi freedoms today? People need to be asking this question.
Gets water like nobody else.
Every day. Every day they need to be asking this question.
Chuck E. Cheese is taking away their freedoms. Somebody want to fill me up a cup of this water? Oh, you ruined it. Hey, Pat. Pat, you want to fill me up a cup of this sweet water?
Never. I've never done that for you.
Man, I'm getting lazy.
You can't have any.
That's sad. When I get dehydrated, I like to barf on it.
My name is Margaret. I'm a
people
former
with
political
water.
prisoner. It happened in the United States. I was arrested in 1972 for inciting a riot. My bail was $100,000. I didn't do it. I was acquitted the next year, and the judge that we had threw the case out because the cops had no case except the fact they were lying. I want to tell this country that when I open my mouth to speak, I am a patriot. I am a true patriot because I understand that this country has to be changed every 20 years, that we don't have to have the old stagnant government. We can get away from the greed. We have to have a people's government. We have to take back what's ours. Throwing money at an illegal immoral war, and at this point we have 2 and possibly 3, is idiotic. What about taking care of Americans? What about taking care of us? What about our rights? If we're fighting for rights someplace that people can't even pronounce and we don't have freedom, we deserve the best and they deserve better than what the United States government is giving them.
Hi, my name is Connie Harris, and I've been active since 2003. Well, actually, before the occupation ever even happened. And I don't think people realize that this was a really large movement before they ever took over the country in Iraq. And I don't think that people realize that it's really down to us. And if I can give you any encouragement today, you know, keep a close eye on things, because the movement needs a lot more people. I was really kind of touched when I walked through the park at how complacent people are on this subject. I mean, and we've got people all out here that have been marching to, we've been going to DC, we've been doing what we're doing right here in Columbus, Ohio. But the movement needs help, it needs support. It needs support. And the only way we're gonna get there is if everybody, you know, takes some kind of a stand. But there's a lot of peace organizations in this town and a lot of people working for peace. All you have to do is go to Central Ohioans for Peace, the Central Ohio Peace Network. There's places where people are coming together. But, you know, all I can say is definitely give some peace a chance. And we need to pull this stuff together. And I dare everybody here, just do something. You know, and if you agree with what we're doing, then you know, you're all good there too. But before this occupation ever happened, the movement was so large and nobody was reporting it. But I want to encourage everybody to get out there and do something. Do something. So come on up here, Randy. We're just all going to kind of introduce ourselves because we've been, I mean, we've been all together on the streets for a long time, and we need help. We need people to really care. Pick up the phones, write a letter, do whatever. Go to some of these websites. I got Janice here.
Thanks, Connie. When Connie said that we are on the streets, that literally is true. We rally every Saturday. The corners in Worthington, High Street, and 161, and in Clintonville, High Street and East North Broadway. I've been a member of Central Ohioans for Peace for the last 6 years. We formed Central Ohioans for Peace February 2003. 400 people came together to try to prevent the invasion of Iraq. And we continued, and when it became apparent that we weren't going to be able to prevent that invasion, we decided to stick together and to continue to meet and rally and protest, because we don't want another invasion like that. We meet every Monday in Clintonville at the Mennonite Church from 7 to 9, and our mission is to bring people together who believe in nonviolent resolution to conflict and want to learn more about how to actuate that in our community and in the world. Some of our goals are to educate ourselves. We have speakers who talk about nonviolent ways of living and being, and and to educate us on that. We also take actions. We promote and participate in rallies and protests, both here in our community and across the nation. Every year we have 2 or 3 buses that go to Washington and do join others that are coming from all over the nation for various rallies on behalf of world peace. And one of our other goals is to hold our leaders accountable for furthering peaceful resolution of conflict in the world, and that includes Barack Obama. And so we just have to keep pressing, and know that the leaders that we have today in the White House are every bit accountable for the peace in the world as we hope that we are. Our meetings in July the theme is patriotism, red, white, and blue, and our very first speaker in July 13th, Monday, July 13th, is Cindy Sheehan. And we're very proud to be hosting Cindy Sheehan at Central Ohioans for Peace July 13th. July 14th. July 13th, yeah. July 13th. And as you know, Cindy's oldest son, Casey, was killed in Iraq in 2004. And since then, she has been very much the anti-war protester and a real model for all of us, especially when she came to international prominence with her stand and her camp out at the Crawford Ranch in Texas. So we're very much looking forward to having her in July. In addition, the other speakers in July are from the Vets Association and a Vietnam War vet to talk about the 68-10 offensive. And our own Pat Morida from the Sierra Club is going to be talking about the Piketon plant. In August, we always have memorials regarding Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and we will be having speakers that will continue to educate us about residual radiation that is still left in Nagasaki, Japan. So we hope that you're enjoying ComFest, and we hope that you will also join in many of the peace groups that are here in our community, because we all still need to work together. We cannot stop. We cannot wait. We have to keep moving forward.
Hi, my name is Connie Hammond, and I just want to tell you, a lot of people wonder where the peace movement is, and a lot of people think that, why are we still out here? I mean, haven't we elected Barack Obama and he's going to take care of all of this and end all of these wars? People don't realize that May was one of the worst months for American casualties in Iraq that we've had for a long time. These wars are still going on. They're still killing innocent civilians all over the world. They're projecting an image of the United States that, regardless of how polished our oratory is, sends a message that we really don't care about other people in the world. So we want to reverse that. And if you need to find us, you can go to the internet, www.columbuspeacenetwork.org. There are tons of organizations that are working for peace and economic justice and all kinds of justice issues. So it's a progressive newsletter. The events calendar is posted at columbuspeacenetwork.org. And again, you can find out information about the meetings of Central Ohioans for Peace at www.centralohioansforpeace.org. But for all of the progressive organizations, you can go to www.columbuspeacenetwork.com. Now, some of us, I think it was back on, what day was it? March 21st, we went to DC. We took a bus. Mark went with us. Maybe he can help us with this. But he organized a couple of buses, and we went to DC for the Answer Rally to end the war. And one of the what do you call it? chants. Yes, we want to teach it to you. And so, since there aren't very many of you, if you want to come up, we want to make this an audience participation thing. So we're hoping that you'll chant with us. Okay? We only have one microphone. Okay, let's get in here.
Hello?
Yeah, we've got more.
Hello?
Okay, there we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
That's bullshit.
Get off it. This war is for profit.
War and occupation will never bring
Liberation, that's bullshit. Get off it. The war is for profit.
War and
Occupation will never bring liberation, that's bullshit. Get off it. This war is for profit. War and occupation will never bring liberation, that's bullshit. Get off it. The war is for profit.
War and occupation
Will never bring liberation, that's bullshit.
get off it.
The enemy is profit.
Now, if you want to hear something, thank you. If you want to hear something pretty, Zainab has agreed to sing for us. And Zainab is a wonderful poet and artist, and this will be very nice.
This is actually, it's an Arabic song. It really shows us what people from Iraq are. It's an Arabic song. It's called Song of Scorched Earth. And it basically talks about what happens to a place after a blitzkrieg. There's nothing there. And it starts with a woman basically walking onto this land, and she describes the leaves that are withered, the faces that are no more. شدي عليك الجرح وانتصبي عبر الدجى جرحا من اللهب يا ساحة الأنواء كما صفى فيها خيول الهول والرعب الأرض فيها وجه مذبحات والجو أمطار من الشهب لم يبقى جرح غير منتهب لم يبقى وجه غير مغتصب أهلك لا سور من الكذب أهلك لا قناصة الرتب صد الرياح السوداء أحفظهن عن ترابي وأنة العشب شغيلة من أرضي عاملة أكرم بهم من عاطل النسب من صخرها قضوا أعنتهم واسترشدوا بالكوكب الذهبي واسترشدوا بالكوكب الذهبي واسترشدوا بالكوكب الذهبي لم يغرهم تاج ومملكة لم يغنيهم صعب عن الطلب ما همهم إلا الربا سيما آتها بالركز متصل أهلك لا سور من الكذب أهلك لا قناصة الرتب صد الرياح سودا أحفظهم أجرح ترابي وأنة العشب
guess they could say that this is an open forum. Does anybody have anything to say about the war? Anybody have anything to speak about it? You know, actually they say that we're reducing troops in Iraq, but actually in Iraq and Afghanistan we have 250,000 paid contractors, not even soldiers. We have a lot of women's sons that are actually joined up with the National Guard to help out in their state, and they ended up in Iraq, and they're being redeployed back into Afghanistan. The whole process is skewed. It's all for profit. If, like Teresa Dawson has said, if we wanted Iraq's oil, we should have just bought it, because it would have been so much easier for us to be able to deal with our problems, being dependent on oil and our energy, is that purchasing it would have been a lot easier than spend all this money in order to fund this war. So we have a gentleman here that wants to speak out.
Hi, sorry. Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm a veteran of the Afghanistan War in 2006 and Iraq War throughout 2008. And I'm not really a very good public speaker, but I did want to say a few things about the war. I don't feel like this war in Iraq, I feel like that we're winning, and that we've put the Al-Qaeda and Taliban criminals on the run, and that we're on the offensive, and that we're winning, and they're losing, and that, you know, it's about to be concluded. So I don't think anyone should really be against the Iraq War at this time, because, you know, yes, it was a mistake to go into Iraq in the beginning. They were on false grounds, obviously. But now that we're there, and that we have, you know, we've invested our time and our money, and maybe wrongfully, but now we're winning, and we should win, and we are winning. And it's about to come to a close under this administration. President Obama has promised to bring troops out of Iraq, and we're withdrawing from major cities actually at the end of this month, I believe. So we are winning, and it's going to become the Iraqis' problem to take control of themselves. And when I was there in Iraq, we've seen great improvements in the security situation. And I believe that they can secure their own country, and I believe that they should control their own country. And that we should leave that country. But I just want to, if there's any veterans out there, you know, I want to give thanks to you who have served and who have made this country more secure at this time. You know. In Afghanistan, it's a long, hard fight. I've been there in 2006. It was the most violent time era since 2001 when we first invaded. But I think, and it just keeps getting more violent, and you hear more and more about troop deaths and things like that. But I think we can win Afghanistan. I think we can secure, you know, security for the civilian population over there if we just keep at it. And I know that my brothers in arms over there are not afraid to do that. They're not afraid to die for that, because I think they believe in freedom. And, you know, you may think they're just a bunch of simple hillbillies and stuff like that, but, you know, there's a very basic belief over there, and I think we can accomplish that together as a military. But I know I haven't, my thoughts weren't very organized, and I'm sorry if I was very, you know, random and incoherent, but, you know, I just wanted to say a few things, and, you know, God bless America. God bless all of you for coming out today. All right.
There's an argument within the country or different thoughts about the war. I really appreciate the veteran that was up here that came and spoke. It took a lot of courage. One thing that I've read about extensively is that every time a veteran comes home, they want to go back. And the reason why they want to go back is because they have buddies that they want to be with. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how long this war is going to go on. What we'd like to see is an end to it. I spoke to an Iraqi journalist, and I asked him, what's going to happen in Iraq? What do you think is going to happen in Iraq? What is the political thought in Iraq? What's going to happen to the country when the U.S. leaves? Is the same parliament going to be up? Is the same politicians going to be there? And his answer was, it is going to completely change. It's a whole different world. It's not like the United States. It's got a history and a tradition just way back. So as far as like us thinking that we're going to change the government, yeah, sure, we introduced a parliament. Yes, there are elections, but it's not going to stay as we leave. It's going to completely change. It's going to rule itself. There's going to be self-determination there as far as its own country, just like it would be in any other country. So hopefully, if we talk peace with our friends, because if you say you want peace, then you're committed. Then you have to do something about it. So let's hope that we can get more and more people to not support the war. We do support the troops. We don't want the troops there. We want to bring them back home. And we're hoping that our government actually does comply with the people's wishes. I'm telling you right now, if Barack Obama, after he got elected and inaugurated, if he would have said, we're leaving tomorrow, there wouldn't have been no big protest in the street against the war, in support of war. Everybody would have been relieved. Everybody's feeling the stress of this. It's not just a financial stress. We can deal with financial stress. All we got to do is grow a garden and we can eat like pigs. What we're really dealing with is emotional stress. There's a lot of emotional stress, and only 1% of the population is being affected right now. And that 1% is the military families that have committed themselves to the dedication towards the country. We need these people home. They're young kids, young men and women. We need them home to help us solve our own problems. We have our own problems. And pumping all this money that could go into the resource of youth, that can go into the resource of community, that can go into the resource of energy. If we did that, we could solve our own problems, and we really don't need to be involved in other people's wars or conflict. You know, Ron Paul, he wanted to bring everybody back home. He wasn't just talking about people back from conflicts. He was talking about every single base that we have in the United States, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, bringing everybody back home, and so we could be able to basically, just take care of ourselves. So that's my rant on it. I really don't have much more to say. We have to give peace a chance. I mean, my whole lifetime, the first war I knew of was I was a backyard of a friend of mine. I was a teenager, something like 13. And a friend of mine came out of the house and he said, the world's at war. And I said, there's a war going on here. What are you talking about? And he was talking about the 6-day war in Israel. That's the first time I heard about war. After that, I had cousins come back from Korea. I had cousins go to Vietnam. I've had employees go to the first war in Iraq when the #1 war in Iraq, the first one. Desert Storm. Desert Storm, yes. So it is a tradition within the country to go to war. And what we need to do is break that tradition. We need to just start thinking of how to solve our own problems and determine what our resources are as far as taking care of ourselves and having our own self-determination. So anyway, I can invite, how much time we got, Larry? We got 10 minutes. If anybody wants to speak up here for the war, for peace, please come up. One thing I've noticed, there's been a lot of women up on this stage. Been a lot of women up here because they're thinking of children and they think of the resource that children are in the United States.
And we're not only thinking of children, we're not only thinking about the children of the United States, and we're not only thinking about the troops that are going over, about the sons and daughters here that are going over. You know, people say, God bless America. Why don't people ever say, if you believe in God, why not God bless the world? Why do we form these artificial divisions? What separates us from Canada, or Mexico, or Germany, or Africa, South Africa, or Palestine, or China, or North Korea, or Iran, or Iraq? What separates us? Why do we say, hey, we need to keep ourselves secure from those people, as if those people are so uneducated and their beliefs are so backwards? They must be some strange savages, barbarians, who want to overthrow all of our freedoms and take away our democracy and put our women in prisons. No, you know what? Our government, who we are responsible for, are the aggressors. They are the ones putting people in torture camps. They are the ones killing the babies of mothers. And it's really disturbing. You know, I remember when the Afghanistan war started, when we started bombing them in 2001, I was 16. And I was in the car with my father, and we were listening to NPR, and I heard that they started bombing Afghanistan. And I was only 16, I didn't know much about it, but I knew that Afghanistan was one of the poorest countries in the world. And I said, really, Dad? Really? Are they bombing Afghanistan? Are they bombing these really, like, poor, resourceless people as if that's gonna, you know, protect us from terrorism? The only thing that it does is make people feel like they have less control over their lives. Like they're being restricted by the U.S. government's policy, and like they need to lash out. Of course it makes people angry, and it makes us more susceptible to terrorism. It's making us less safe to be over there killing innocent civilians, and over 1 million people have died in Iraq. I don't know how many in Afghanistan, but I mean, yeah, I don't think any of our people, I feel bad for the troops. I don't think anybody should be in that situation. But can we only talk about the people who are white and from America who are dead? Can we talk about the millions of Iraqi civilians for a second? And another thing, you know, people still seem to latch on to the idea that we are over there for freedom, to liberate these people, as if they're too stupid to, you know how to liberate themselves or create their own governments, or we need to be in there to fix things because, you know, Iraqis aren't educated enough. Well, you know, what we're making Iraq and Afghanistan, what we're trying to make them safe for, is U.S. corporations, so that we can take their resources. Afghanistan has all kinds of really valuable minerals that we're trying to get our hands on in those Rocky Mountains out there. And of course, Iraq has tons of oil, and you know, we want to get our hands on them. If you've ever read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein, that is a fantastic book, which talks about how we are going in there and we are basically like setting up the whole economic infrastructure so that we can exploit people and pay them low wages and extract all of their natural resources. That's what we're making this place safe for. It's a total farce. It's an illusion that we're trying to make these people free by imposing democracy. As people have alluded to before me, it's the U.S. interests who were working with Saddam Hussein in the 80s, who overthrew Mossadegh in 1953, democratically elected socialist leader who wanted to nationalize oil, God forbid. So I think that people need to think a little more deeply about what's going on here. You know, just don't blindly. I mean, people have all but forgotten about the war, and it's been going on since. For the entire time that I've been an adult, and it's really frustrating to me to think that, you know, I can't do anything about it because nobody cares, because everybody's so preoccupied with, you know, the next reality TV show or their Xbox or whatever it is, and that we don't really have a voice in the democracy of this country. You know what? You know what gets a voice? Money gets a voice. This is a system of capitalism, and everything works for the dollar. And that's what's created this war right now, is the constant quest for profit. So, everybody needs to do their part and start speaking out. This war isn't over, it's still ongoing, and people are still dying. So keep it in your thoughts and keep doing what you can do. And, maybe we can have a better world one day where that isn't dominated by war and poverty. So thank you.
I want to thank you all for showing up for this. Make a commitment. If you actually believe in peace, make the commitment, because that will set everything in motion. And it's really not bad to say to a neighbor, you know what, I think we should end this war. I'd like to bring our troops home. Too many people have died, not just in the United States, but in Afghanistan, in Iraq. We have soldiers right now in Africa trying to stem some type of extremist movement. Actually, I think they'd do really good if everybody left from there. The colonialization just basically came to an end. So thank you. We have an announcement. There is a conference. Yes, come up and finish this off, Connie. There's a conference, I think, in Pittsburgh.
This is the second annual National Anti-War Conference. It's what's next for the anti-war movement. Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Palestine, Iran, money for human needs, not for war, and bailouts of corporations and banks. It's July 10th through 12th at LaRoche College in Pittsburgh. And the speakers, among all of them, is our friend Zainab is going to be one of the keynote speakers. There are going to be plenty of workshops, and a lot of organizing, and a lot of actions that we're going to try and participate here, both in the planning and then executing them locally here in Columbus. So I hope if anybody's interested in going to that, get a flyer. And if you're interested in carpooling, my email is at the bottom. If anybody's interested in carpooling, we'll try and do that. Pittsburgh isn't that far away, and it should be an opportunity to meet some really, really neat people. And again, Cindy Sheehan is going to be speaking at this National Assembly, and then she'll be coming back to Columbus with us and speaking at Central Ohioans for Peace on July 13th. And I can't think of anybody who's more dedicated to trying to end the carnage and end the death to American troops. It saddens her every time she hears of another loss. And she is one who more than any of us understand what a mother's grief is. So, so many of us, she makes the point in her book, and so many of us don't really pay the price of this war. It's only our military, our soldiers, and their families that are paying the price for this war. And we really I think we need to support our troops by telling them we want them home. Troops out now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Troops out. When do we want it? Now. Thank you.
That's it. Give peace a chance. Tim Crawford's coming up next. Don't go away.